All right, welcome to everyone who is joining us today at Green Home Systems. Today we're speaking with Managing Director of Green Home Systems, Robbie Hebert, and Michelle Spina, the Sales Education Manager for North America at SolarEdge, Green Home Systems' new solar optimizer provider. So welcome to you both.
Mark, thanks for having us. I'm really excited.
Hi, Mark. Nice to be with you today.
Yeah, Robbie, good to be with you. Michelle, good to be with you. Robbie, let's start with you. How did your partnership with SolarEdge originate?
Well, back in approximately 2006, residential solar, it was hard to get the numbers to really work out for people, and there were certain technological things that needed to be worked out and advances that needed to take place. And SolarEdge really revolutionized the whole process with their inverters. Before SolarEdge came along in 2006, the inverter was called an SMA. It was called a string inverter, like old school Christmas tree lights when we were all kids. If one light went out, they all went out. Well, it was the same with the solar panels, whereby if one was shaded or one went out, then the whole string, the whole array would not function and work. So SolarEdge came along, and they were able to apply what we call optimizers to the belly of each panel to separate out each panel, so that if one failed, that the entire array wouldn't fail. And so that's what really revolutionized what we were able to do. And our relationship just took off from there, and they have a large part to play in why we're even around doing what we do.
Absolutely. And Michelle, SolarEdge is a world leader in residential and commercial energy systems. What sets you apart from your competitors?
Well, as a company, I think some of the most exciting things about SolarEdge is we are the #1 solar inverter company globally. We're a very large company in about 133 countries at this point. Some of the most exciting things is, we really want to own the process from beginning to end. So we have 10 R&D facilities all across the country, all across the world, that is actually really involved in developing our products before we manufacture them. We own the whole manufacturing process for both residential and commercial space and solar. And we were just added to the S&P 500. So we have some very exciting things that are happening. We're known for our safety. We're known for our innovation. And just SolarEdge as a company can be seen as such in this industry.
Robbie, what was it about SolarEdge that made them such an attractive option for both Green Home Systems as a company and also as well for your customers?
Well, because they were first and so cutting edge, it was a game changer to be able to explain to the homeowner that they wouldn't be put in a position whereby if just a single panel happened to have been shaded from even just something falling on a panel, that their entire array wouldn't be out for 2, 3, 4 days a week or whatever it was until somebody was able to get out there and fix the system. So just from a functionality standpoint, this just changed everything. And we feel that their manufacturing solid, the financials were solid, the people running their company were solid, and we researched all of it. We're just very pleased, and we were correct in making the decision to use SolarEdge as our primary inverter, and we still do to this day. Even though there are other players in the space, we're still leading with SolarEdge. They're still the primary that we create our proposals with.
Michelle, I've heard that microinverters have been the optimal solution in regards to converting sunlight to AC power for the home. So what are optimizers and how are they different and a better option than using microinverters?
Yeah, I like to talk about this, Mark, because I want to make it simple. So I use an analogy to talk about really the difference between microinverters and optimizers. So Robbie mentioned both of these systems, we call them module level power electronics, microinverters or optimizers. They're optimizing the module. So if there's shading happening on the roof, it's not going to affect the entire solar system, but maybe just that one module at that given time. And so let's talk about the analogy. Think about having all of these faucets And those faucets are going to really serve as the analogy for our modules on the roof. So if you had all of those faucets, you turned them all on at the same time, they're going to have varying levels of water pressure, right? So some are going to be a high water pressure, some of them may have a lower water pressure. And this is what's happening on your roof every single day, depending on where that sun is hitting that roof at the given time. Those modules are working at different levels. So if we put a cup under each of those faucets, we have varying levels of water pressure. Some of those cups are going to fill up, right? Some of those are not going to fill up all the way, and some of them are going to overflow. This is what's happening with microinverters, our competition. There's only a certain amount of electricity, a certain amount of power, energy that can actually be converted at that module level. And that's what's happening with microinverters. Now, with SolarEdge, we have a hybrid solution. So we have the optimizers on the roof that are optimizing those modules, but we also have an inverter on the wall where that energy is being converted. So you can think about, instead of the cups, we have one large bucket. So if you have all of those faucets, varying levels of water pressure, but you have a bucket underneath all those faucets, right? We're able to harvest all of that water. We don't lose any water. We don't lose any energy when we're talking about the modules on your roof, because we're harvesting all of that energy into one central location, and it allows for a more efficient system. So for homeowners, this equates to about 3 to 5 additional days of energy just by having a more efficient technology on your roof.
Robbie, let's go back to you. When it comes to batteries, do homeowners need a battery with their solar system?
Well, today I would say the word need is literal. If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have framed it this way. I would have said they will eventually need a battery, but today they now need a battery today. And the reason why is because the gas prices went up, cost of coal's going through the roof, the rate with which people are going to be buying and driving electric cars, just who knows, I don't know, 10x because of the gas prices, I don't know, 1000x, who knows. Half the country, I believe, will be driving electric cars within a couple of years, which is going to cause major outages and grid failures. And the infrastructure is just a mess in this country, especially with utility companies. And, you know, the utility companies definitely aren't going to be the ones paying to upgrade their infrastructure. It's going to be you and I paying to do that. So most people's utility bills will probably double in the next 5 years, as opposed to what we believed a year ago, which was that their bills would double in about 12 or 13 years. So now the need for batteries is today, and that word can be used very literally now, today. Yeah, absolutely. No one has a choice anymore.
Exactly. Michelle, if homeowners are not sure they want a battery now, but it's possible they may add one later, is that an option?
Yes, so with the SolarEdge system, you do have the ability to add on a battery later if that's something that homeowner wants, or for example, add on another battery later. So this gives the homeowner the opportunity to go with maybe a 1 or 2 battery system today and add on a second battery later. We call this the Energy Hub ecosystem. A lot of times homeowners, you know, we want to grow with the homeowner's energy appetite. And that's happens, like to Robbie's point, the whole energy infrastructure is changing at this point, and we want to grow with that. You can do that with the Energy Hub. It's a flexible inverter that allows you to connect batteries, smart EV chargers, now or later, depending on what your needs are.
Also, Michelle, is there a means that allows customers to track and monitor how their system is working?
Yes, so we have an app called My SolarEdge, and that is a homeowner-facing app that allows homeowners to track and manage their system straight from their phone. And this is all of their smart energy devices. So if they have solar only, they'll be able to track that. They can track how much energy they're using in the house, how much solar they're producing at any given time. If they have a battery, they can see where that charge is at. If they have an EV charger, they can see if that the car is charging at that time. They can smart schedule that charge. And then that's going to follow them throughout the day. So if you see this on the visual here, you'll see at night, You have the ability to discharge that battery, use that energy in your house at night if that's applicable to you, and then that will charge the next day. And you can watch that as it goes throughout the day.
Now, Robbie, we heard you just talking about this a couple of minutes ago, discussing the effect that the increase in electric vehicles is going to have, and how that's going to come with an increase in demand for solar. Will your new partnership with SolarEdge be able to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. Believe it or not, we're not having the same supply chain issues with SolarEdge that the rest of the world seems to be having with everything else in their life. So we're very encouraged by this. I'm not exactly sure how SolarEdge is managing to pull that off, but they don't seem to fall into the same bucket as the rest of the world. They're somehow special.
Absolutely. And maybe a little bit more on that, Michelle, we're frequently hearing about power outages, whether that's from fires or storms, falling trees, rolling blackouts, what have you. So tell us how SolarEdge provides a complete solution for maintaining power to the home under any circumstances.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we have seen more blackouts in more areas than ever before. But with our battery solution, we talked about My SolarEdge. This is some features of My SolarEdge that homeowners can be assured that they're going to be safe in a blackout. And our system works with both SolarEdge Energy Bank batteries and LG batteries. So there's some flexibility there as well. For a homeowner, you have a couple of features that are particularly important on My SolarEdge. One, you're going to get a pop-up if your home is in backup mode. So at that point, that homeowner is going to have power because they've backed up their loads in their house, but it's going to notify them when they're in backup mode so that they can conserve that energy to save for that battery life throughout the outage. One other thing that's pretty interesting about My SolarEdge and the integration there is this WeatherGuard feature. So this WeatherGuard feature will take all of the weather satellites in the area and predict a severe weather event coming in your area for the potential of blackouts. And it's going to prioritize the charge of that battery to full capacity before that storm hits, so that you have a full battery in case there is a blackout. So it's a great safety measure. We've seen a lot of success with it, especially in Southern California with these high winds and the utility turning off our power on a regular basis due to fire risk. That is going to ping WeatherGuard. It's going to prioritize that charge and will allow that homeowner to have a full battery when needed.
This is wonderful information. I thank you both for sharing all this with us today.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Nice to see you today. Nice to see you, Michelle.
Thanks, Robbie.